What's going on, Reject Nation? Greg here. John.
I'm John.
He's John. And we got with us today a man who you don't often... He's sometimes in front of the camera on his channel. His face is usually there as part of his icon for the channel. However, he's someone who I've talked with many times. We've talked quite a bit over social media.
Very deep conversations.
Actually, yeah, no, funny enough, recently we've gotten into very deep conversation. I'm like, perfect. This is a good time to hop on an interview with you.
Let's air out all that personal life stuff.
Paul from Heavy Spoilers. Heavy Spoilers, Paul.
Woo!
Tatted up.
Kevin
sexy man.
Spoilers is here.
Oh, yeah, where'd that name?
My new name.
Where'd that name Kevin come from? Chris from 3C Films kept calling you Kevin, and I was like, I thought his name was Paul. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, it is. I was just trolling one day, and I just made up a source. Yeah, I just made up a source, and normally I say, dude, bro, trust me. Sometimes I say my uncle, and I was just like, oh, Kevin Spoilers, he told me. And now I'm kind of thinking about going off into a whole family route of like my cousin Kenny Spoilers, and yeah, just make a whole family of them.
Yeah, you need to do cutaways to just like you in a mustache or something, and that's Kevin Spoilers, or like a fedora hat.
Henry Spoilers, the lot. We'll get them all out.
Yeah, there you go.
If you guys don't know Paul, you should. You oughta. He's blowing up right now, often going trending on YouTube all the time. That's why we're here, because we got to capitalize on his trending.
That's right, man. We got to ride that momentum, those coattails.
Get us back.
I saw you were
on,
trending
Paul.
yesterday as well. Congratulations.
Video's not monetized. Doesn't matter.
Oh, the biggest kick in the teeth.
The joy of making it to the page and to have such a well-performing videos.
No. Honestly, it's been about 24 hours since we got demonetized for that video, and I'm still I've worked out twice since then. And I'm still a little frustrated by it, to be totally honest.
So there was a big glitch on YouTube yesterday in the UK where any video uploaded after about 2 p.m. yesterday just wasn't showing in the search results at all. So I thought that had been shadow banned for quite a while, because I was searching Venom. You know, I was literally typing out the title I had, and it wasn't showing up in the search results. Ooh. And then I would search for my own channel, and the latest video was one that I posted on Sunday. So I was like, have I been shadow banned? Because IGN was the only one showing up with their breakdown with Andy Serkis, and I was like, there was some other bitches. Sony have stamped the foot down, and trailer reactions and breakdowns are dead. But yeah, it was just an issue in the UK. I know another YouTuber who posted one, and his still isn't showing up in the search at all. Mine is now. But sometimes, this is the whole thing about being a YouTuber, it just likes to kick you in the teeth.
Yeah.
Another example, launched a new t-shirt today. Was going to make a big campaign about it. It was fine. It was on the store, and for some reason, YouTube have just put it under review again. And they've taken it off. So all the work I did today, building that campaign, pointless. So thanks, YouTube.
I'm so sorry.
Guys, buy a Heavy Spoilers t-shirt.
We'll buy one, Paul.
We'll each buy one.
We'll help you out.
Yeah.
I won't send you a free one. You have to buy it.
You strike me as
and
the
pay
kind of guy.
international shipping as well. You can get a chip from America, but you're getting a chip from the UK.
No,
I don't care.
I would like to pay more than the shirt is worth in shipping, please.
Yes.
Okay, first off, we're a few minutes in here. If you guys haven't seen Paul from Heavy Spoilers, he does these really great breakdowns, like really wonderful breakdowns and he's known to be on top of it. He's got quite a reputation for being like the first. I constantly see a comment that says that the first one out with a breakdown.
The king of endings explained.
And it pisses me off sometimes.
This isn't even out yet.
It can piss me off because I'm like, right now this is the earliest collab I've ever done in my entire life. The only times I've done a collab at like 5 or 6 in the morning is to do a quick trailer reaction and not have that guest hover over my shoulder while I'm quickly editing, and I'm like, please stop talking to me, I'm trying to get to work. So this is like, we're about to do an interview at 8:30 in the morning. So it's 8:30 our time, and it's like it's like 4:45,
4:30 p.m.
4:30 p.m. your time. So for example, like we're shooting this the day after the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer came out, and for us, we had to get up at 5 a.m. and then we shot it at 6 a.m.
Really?
Yeah. So we were like very pissed when it got demonetized because I'm like, man, why'd I do all that studying at midnight and get no
And
sleep?
not sleeping. Yeah.
And then, but you're on top of it, and I'm like tempted to move to the UK just because of this time zone thing where
you do
you're
it in the
able to be
afternoon.
like, it's like 3 o'clock. What time was it when it came out for you? Like 3 o'clock p.m.
2 p.m.
See,
Yeah, so
oh my
right.
god, that sounds
Really-
incredible.
How magical.
So I tend to work between about 8 till 5. So it's right in the sweet part of the day. I got it finished off before 5, and yeah, it's great. Disney shows as well. I'll tell you what, I love Disney. People call me a shill. They drop those shows at 8 a.m. in the UK, and I tell you what, I speak to some YouTubers who are like, man, I had to get up at 4 a.m. to do a Wandavision breakdown, and you got 10,000 views, and you got 1 million on it, and I hate my life. And I'm like, well, sorry, UK.
Because most of your audience, I'm assuming, is with America, though, even though you're in the UK.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of them's the losers who stay up till 4 a.m. But sometimes when I'm
You're talking about us, man.
Hey, we're
you specifically, yeah. But sometimes when they obviously, a video takes a couple of hours to do. So by the time they wake up, mine's normally going live.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we'll watch Kevin spoilers, and none of the good channels have got theirs out yet because they've all been up
So
till
we
4 a.m.
might as
so
well watch this one.
nothing else to do. No one's talking about it yet.
And now you're on press list too for certain companies, so then you get
which
like
is
this
nice.
early access for things on top of that.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword because I can't really talk about leaks all that much anymore, because that's kind of how my channel built its reputation, was reporting on leaks, and then I reported on one that was quite accurate and I didn't get in trouble for it, but it was just like, it seemed better to not do it as much anymore. So now I'm kind of just like doing breakdowns. The spoilers are coming after the show almost. It's like, we've watched it, we want to hear these spoiler reviews, let's do it. Because spoiler free reviews, they only have a certain audience. It's normally people who haven't seen it yet, whereas I'm there. You've taken the woman that you love out for a meal, you've kissed her in the taxi, you've said goodbye, dropped her off at her home, your boys have got on the phone, they're like, let's go out and party. And that's who I am. I'm the guy who's like the party after the spoiler free thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Does that
yeah,
metaphor work?
Absolutely.
That's a really long
Good.
winded
You're the
metaphor
after
that you
hours
have constructed.
of
I mean,
criticism.
I clearly have a lot of experience with my Funko Pops of having a heavy nightlife.
Yeah, this is an easy way to make people think that we know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah,
That's just a green screen, isn't it? Yeah.
this is the party room.
Keyed it in for this Zoom
Yeah.
interview today. Yeah.
That's just a department store,
So
the stock room.
I'm very curious. Your intros, whenever you do, you have some like, I call them like, I can't tell if it's British humor or dad jokes or a little bit of both. That's kind of the vibe that I get with a lot of your puns and stuff. Do you ever stress about the first? Yeah, I'm generally stressed. I'm generally stressed. Yeah,
I'm stressed right now.
Yeah.
Do you ever stress over like, what the hell is my opening joke that I gotta make right now?
Yeah. No, 100%. And with everything getting delayed, some of the jokes were, the Batman was something I must have done about 50 videos on. And by about video 20, I was like, it's the Deaf Knight, because I used to be called Definition and Deaf Knight, and it was just so bad. And when they kept pushing the movies back, I just thought, how am I going to keep doing this? And sometimes I'll just start a video off by just skipping that and going, okay, so we're going to get into the breakdown straight away. If you enjoy it, click the thumbs up. And I just skip it all. Yeah, it's very stressful. And I know 3C Films does something. I mean, his aren't as creative as mine. He doesn't put as much effort into coming up with crappy one-liners. But yeah, it takes
It's all
its toll.
green screens with that guy.
Oh yeah, just
All
talking
flash.
to them, Mike.
What other YouTube channels do you watch, by the way? Because I see your like name just pop. I remember I saw some like financial. I hit you up about this. I'm like, financial strategist YouTube channel, and I'm like, there's freaking heavy spoilers. It's right here. It's commenting. Yeah. I feel like you're plugged into so much, and we're only plugged into like a little bit. So
I get some like and it's some news network owned by Universal or something that is out in Colorado or something, and all their like network presenters follow me. Like the weatherman from there followed me one day, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then all of the presenters start following me, and it's just really weird. I think I cover such a broad range of subjects. Initially, I started out doing Netflix specifically, Ending Explains on that, and then kind of got into comic book stuff. I mean, I've always been into comic books. I just, for some reason, never saw it as my avenue in YouTube, even though I did start off by covering Frank Miller and Batman graphic novels, and then that kind of went into Netflix, which is really weird, and now it's kind of came full circle to being back to comic books. But yeah, it's crazy how many people will just pop up because I posted some video from years ago on some stupid subject that I don't even remember watching. Really weird.
What is your YouTube origin tale? Well, first off, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
32.
32.
So quite old to be getting into YouTube. So I mean,
like, what was your career before you were doing YouTube?
Okay, so I started working in a bar when I was about 15, and I did 10 years of just working in a bar, and it got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to be doing this forever, and I want to actually get a career. So not saying that doing bar work isn't a career, but I just was losing my interest with it, and I started applying to places, and they were like, well, no, you've only got bar experience, so we're not going to take you on. And then I got a call back from a call center, and I remember going in and thinking, I've finally made it. I've got a desk. This is the thing I've been wanting my whole life. This is what I imagined success to be. And that was really soul destroying as well. And then I realized the grass wasn't always greener. And I thought, I'm interested in doing the internet and stuff like that, but I don't really know where to start. So I messaged a lot of companies saying, and this was when Twitter and Facebook was just starting out, and I messaged them just saying, look, I know you haven't really got much of a presence online. I will run your social media accounts for free for 3 months, just so I can get some stuff on my resume.
Nice.
And I started doing that.
Nice hustle.
And then that kind of got my social network skills. Basically, everything I've done in my life is sort of built towards me being a YouTuber. And that kind of, so from the social network side of things, that kind of developed into doing web design. I'd never designed a website in my life, and I applied for a job, which was a graduate apprenticeship, which is basically where a university pays a company owner to give one of its graduates a course. So I did music at university, which went nowhere, but I had a degree, so I could apply for that. And I became a website designer. And I remember going to the interview and was like, look, I've never not really built a website. I said, I've built a MySpace page. And they're like, all right, okay, that sounds pretty good. They got me in. I did about a year of that. And then the guy, sadly, he just, I remember him coming, because I was the only person who worked for him and I worked from home. And he came in and was like, oh, I'm really sorry, the company's just not doing well. I'm going to have to let you go. So I was a bit gutted. We just moved into our house. I'd actually said to him before we moved in, look, am I going to have a job next year? And he was like, yeah, definitely. And then about 3 weeks later, didn't have a job.
Oh, my dude. No.
Yes, which sucked. And then I started work. I basically spent the next couple of weeks looking for web design jobs, managed to get one, worked for a guy, and then out of the blue, after about 3 weeks in, I got an email from one of his previous employees saying, be careful, this guy's a con man. He doesn't pay people, he just gets them to build websites, takes control of it, and then doesn't pay them. And that turned out to be true. I had basically moved into a new house, lost a job, got another one, didn't get paid for it, And then, I got this email, and I didn't know at the time he wasn't going to pay me, but I was very, very suspicious. So I just started looking around at places, and I got a job actually working at a coffin factory, doing coffin designs. So I don't know if you've seen them.
That is
really
the specialist special skill I've ever heard.
Yeah. So basically, what would happen is you'd get a custom-made coffin, and now they can print images onto it. So you could send in loads of photos, or you could say, I want a coffin to look like a race car or something like this.
Heavy spoilers logo.
Heavy spoilers coffin.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where I slowly developed my Photoshop skills. So I built up the social media skills.
That's so strange.
I built up the website skills. Whilst I was doing websites, I also kind of learned a lot of SEO. And then I got the Photoshop skills. And then it was about an hour and a half journey every morning on the bus. So I used to always take a comic with me to read, because I'd be 3 hours a day on the bus. And I just used to start reviewing them, start reading them, just writing down my thoughts in my phone. And because I knew how to build a website, I just thought, I'll just put these on a website and people will come read them. And then it was rough. So this is when I started doing the Batman Frank Miller graphic novels, and then the extended edition of Batman v Superman came out, and I thought I'll just do a video on that. And I started just talking into my phone, had some footage playing over the top, and that got about 6,000 views in a day.
Nice.
Which, when you're starting out, is
insane.
hitting crazy. Yeah, 6,000 people. Even today, that would be really good. So I thought, there's clearly an audience in YouTube. So I started just reviewing films instead of working on my website, which is why my website's went to crap now. But then got all this YouTube stuff, so that's pretty much how it's been. So everything I've done so far as the social media, Photoshop, web design, SEO, that's all kind of come together to enable me to work on YouTube. And I remember going for a job interview once, and the guy was like, you're a jack of all trades, you've got all of these skills, but there's not a specialist one, and there's not really any jobs in the market for that. Looking back, though, there is YouTube. Just as long as you can do a range of different things, bring them together, and you've got it. Because that's what you need to be a YouTuber. You need to have good thumbnails, good titles that rank well, good videos, and reviews that you've been typing on your website. So go off and do that big story, kids, and you'll just become like your Uncle Kevin spoilers.
It's been a long time since someone has told me, I don't think it's ever actually happened, where someone tells me their life story.
I'm sorry.
And then
how did you create your YouTube account?
Can we go further back into your childhood?
It was 1985.
What did you do before the bar?
No, I'm saying that I legit at one point got nipple chills hearing your story, because I was like, wow, that's crazy. You have like the inspiring tale of someone who has been working since they were a teenager, trying to just make ends meet, struggling. Sounds like you got married before any of this, any YouTube and all that happened. You were at least with your significant other, at least by this point, right?
So I met my wife in 2015, and I started YouTubing properly in 2018, I think it was.
See, that's crazy.
So she's not a gold digger, Don't tell her.
She wants that spoiler money.
Exactly. I had to spoiler.
But no, that's
classic.
That's pretty awesome. That's inspiring. Like, especially like you got like an Eminem 8 Mile story, riding that bus, writing down your comic book thoughts, and then being able to transition here. It does.
Yeah.
Out of any story I've heard about getting into YouTube, that is the first one I've heard where I'm like, oh, this sounds like it's meant to be for you. That's pretty surprising.
But and obviously we've been talking about this interview for a while, and I've been thinking about what I'm going to say in it. And I was watching Chris's the other day, and he was saying how he thinks his channel's going to get taken away the next day. And I'm very much of the same mind as that. And I was done like a cycle. Yeah, it's so weird, and I've done like a psychological deep dive on myself to kind of figure out why I get such bad anxiety over it. And I think it is because I bought this house, didn't really have the money to pay for it, moved in, got fired from a job, got another job, worked that for a month, didn't get paid, then had to get another job. And I had like these two things just taken away from me so fast that when it comes to YouTube as well, I'm just like, this is going too good. You know, something's going to happen here where it just all gets taken away. Which is nice, that constantly going through the back of your head as you're trying to be positive, making videos.
It's a good discipline strategy.
I kid you not. Every time things start going great, my fiance was right here in this corner sitting in a chair, and she's like, every time things go good for you, you start freaking out waiting for the other shoe to fall. And I'm like, but you don't understand. like everything has. I mean, there was a point where we lost the channel for a while. Yeah, we lost the channel for like a month, all because they used to be linked to what was it? Google.
They changed the way that the YouTube accounts interact with your Gmail or whatever, and our channel had been created prior to that, and there was something in the transitioning over into the new, technological regime or whatever that just didn't quite click properly for our channel. So when we were trying to troubleshoot a different issue, we managed to basically dislodge the channel from any email address. So it was just kind of floating out there in the ether, and they had to basically come in and attach it to a brand new Gmail to get us back in.
And this was during, December, as you know, when ads are like thriving.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
that is Christmas. That is Christmas on YouTube.
Yeah, we got our money. We got our channel back in January.
Perfect in time.
when ads dip.
Here's the CPM, $2. Enjoy.
January money.
I mean, it was like because before John and I really like partnered up like hardcore together, because there's like a whole history with us. But before then, when it was mainly just me, I had the experience of dealing with adpocalypse, and I think you started really thriving here before, like a little after that all occurred, based off of the timeline of what you told me, and that traumatized me because like the income of the Real Rejects shot down like 90% for like 2 months, and it was terrifying because I didn't save, and I grew up pretty poor. Like I was very poor. Did you? I think we touched a little bit about this on social media. Did you? It sounds like you grew up with some financial struggles too, right?
Yeah, we weren't like poor, but there was a lot of time when we didn't know how much money was coming in. Like my family's working class, which what comes with that is you will have your good months, and then you'll have a lot of ones where you're sort of on the ropes. My dad's self-employed, and my mum was a hairdresser, and then they split up, and that's kind of caused a lot of issues money-wise. But yeah, I wouldn't say I was like living in poverty, but there was a lot of difficulties. I ended up going to quite a posh school, where a lot of people were quite well off, and I feel bad saying it, but I always feel like when I'd see their parents buying them cars and stuff, and I would not even be getting like clothes, it was just a bit. I mean, they did buy me clothes. I don't want to say, but there was a.
I was naked when I went to school.
At the time, I never really felt like I was poor, but then when I went to this school where everyone was quite well off, it was like, oh, so this is actually like how the other half lives, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, my parents never used to waste money. They would always put me and my sister first and everything. So I don't want to sound bad on them, but yeah.
I mean, I think that fear though, like I think when you grow up with that, because like in our household specifically, like every month we were afraid we were going to lose the house. Like every month it was like that, and I feel like that fear has just sort of translated into my lifestyle now that I'm really actively working on overcoming by just talking about it first.
Yeah. No, definitely.
And I saw with the YouTube kind of being this like very up and down relationship, and like it's hard. It's difficult.
Well, yeah, and that's what a lot of people who don't do YouTube, they think it's a very easy job, and you're just sitting about making videos all the day. But if you have a day where you don't have a story to cover, or your views dip, or like the one yesterday where YouTube just decided not to show my video to anyone, that's like a day's wages lost. And you wonder how, oh crap, is this the new normal? It's as a human, you spend a lot of times when you get in a rut, you just instantly think this is how things are, and this is how things are always going to be, and you forget that there are, you know, peaks and troughs that basically make your career on YouTube. I'm kind of getting more used to the idea now. Like, I've had quite a bad month this month, but I've had so many bad months before that it's just kind of like, well, you know, Loki's coming next month, and I'm sure you'll bounce back with that. But last year was so difficult because I remember thinking, oh crap, I've got nothing to cover for the next 3 months. Tenet comes out in July. If I can make it a Tenet, I can do it. And then in June, I think Tenet got delayed. And I was like, oh. So, yeah.
It's got to make your heart sink.
When your job is to be popular, you are going to have a lot of existential crises over your popularity, especially when it dips, especially when you aren't popular anymore. Like, I trended every week with Wandavision for quite a while, and that week I didn't trend, it was like, oh crap, what have I done wrong? Has it gone now?
Yeah,
this sucks.
I mean, that's why I deleted the YouTube the YouTube Creator Studio app on my phone.
Yeah,
as I just can't handle the feedback YouTube gives me.
Brutal.
When like your video's performing better than usual, then I get all this gratification.
Yeah,
and then it says your video's underperforming. I'm like, fuck,
yeah.
I'm a failure. I'm a failure. Like this, it all like just kicks in. These childhood thoughts just kick in.
Yeah. Like I talk to my friends quite a lot who they don't know what's going on in the back end of YouTube, and I'll say things like, oh, it's a 10 of 10. And they'll not know what that means. And basically, if you are watching this and don't know what it means, when you post a video, it gets ranked against your last 10 videos. Mm-hmm. So if you get a 1, they actually have fireworks as an animation to show how well you're doing. And 1 means this is the best video you've done out of the last 10. The views, it's killing it on the views. This is you've made it. You've made it. Go treat yourself.
You are a success.
Yeah, exactly. Here's some fireworks, confetti, and then 10 of 10 is, oh, what? This is done worse than all of your other videos. And if you get several 10 of 10s in a row, it's like, ugh. But even
There's
anything
a Grim
below,
Reaper that shows up.
Yeah, even anything below a 4, I start thinking like, oh crap. If I like a 4, 5, and a 6 back to back, is this it?
So it's the downfall.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Yeah,
a couple things I wanted to touch on. Just kind of like the things I'm naturally curious about when talking with other, because it's funny. Like I did an interview with Chris, and then we got like so emotional about like the YouTube side. And then I got messages from other YouTubers I know. It's like a lot of people, like that video not a lot of people watched it, but then surprisingly, like people like you, a really close friend of mine, Warren from Cosmic Wonder, he watched it too. And other people were like hitting me up about like, you know, like, yeah, I really identify with that. And I was like, shit, at least we found like a voice for something like for people who have a hard time with this. And so there are like areas that I'm just naturally curious about when it comes to doing YouTube. So it's funny, like John, in the lifestyle, like my childhood home was rough, but my school life was all right. And John's school life, he dealt with, like, we went to school together, and he had like all the bullying to deal with.
Oh, really?
And weirdly, I feel like he can handle hate comments better than I do. I mean, how do you? I have a hard. After a while, I just start getting like, "Oh fuck you! I'm gonna go on." So I have to just avoid comments. How do you personally deal with? Because like you do a wide variety of videos, and how do you deal with hate comments?
It really depends on what mood you catch me in, to be honest. Sometimes I just laugh them off and think that's great, and then there'll be something that's such like a pedantic thing that it's like it just really winds me up that I wrote like a 6,000 word video, spent hours recording it and editing it, designing the thumbnail and graphics for it, and then the only thing that one person can take from it is a thing where I've misspoke or something. Or,
it's always that.
It was one where I called we were doing Wandavision and I called Wanda Agatha just for the scene. I was like, oh, and Agatha does this, but I meant to say Wanda, and so many people were just like, you said Agatha instead of Wanda,
fake
or
nerd.
whatever. And I was just like, oh, is this the only thing that these people are taking from this video? That this 25-minute video, this one word I got wrong in a 6,000 word essay, and it's like, so that kind of winds me up. But whenever I argue with someone in the comments, the next day I always feel like it was something really stupid. Like the other week I had. I posted a tweet about how I wish streaming services would realize there's more than just Friday, and someone was like, well, we work through the weekend, we want to have the weekend to watch shows, and I was just like, yeah, but like it would be better, you can watch things on the night. You know what I mean? There's TV shows don't just air on a Friday. You have TV shows out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. And he was like, oh, you stupid snowflake, you get so offended when people have a different opinion. And I'm just like, oh, just can't be like, I just said enjoy your mute. And then they blocked me, and it was such a stupid argument, but it's something that I just think I shouldn't have stooped to that level, because this person's an idiot and I'm just arguing with them. And then they moved Loki to Wednesdays, and I just thought, I told you, they're going to have to move stuff.
That guy works at Disney Plus. Who you talked to? He went back, was like, oh, dude, I got muted. We got to move it.
Yeah, it's just stupid things. Like someone the other day wrote, I did the Bad Batch breakdown, and I was talking about how they were registering, in the Second World War, they registered Jewish people, and I said that it happened in Poland. I didn't mention the Yahtzee word because obviously you get demonetized straight away. But there was someone saying, I'm going to report you to the authorities for saying that it happened in Poland because you're making it sound like the Polish people did it when it was actually the Germans. And I was just like, no, if I said the Germans did it in Poland during the Second World War, surely you think, oh, well, I know exactly who that is. But they were just weird comments like that. You'll get people who freak out over the stupidest little thing. And it can be funny sometimes, but when you've had a long day and you've spent hours and hours making a video, it's just like, oh, is this it? Just arguing with people over stupid semantics.
It is incredibly, especially that first one you pointed out, when you put a lot of work into to make just everything of. Just people don't realize, like, it does take a while to, even for like something simple like a quick trailer reaction, can actually take some time to, like, gotta make this thumbnail just pop right, and I gotta quickly edit it, blah blah blah. But if we do like a breakdown or something, or a long discussion, and if you get one thing wrong, sometimes I try to diffuse that. I'm like, let me put it in the pinned comment, and it just seems like there's so many people who are quick to rush to that comment box to correct you, when I'm like, can't you see there's already a gazillion other people who have already done this, and I'm not getting this feedback?
That's the thing. Everyone seems to be under the impression that they're the only person who could have possibly noticed it, even though you would have noticed it probably straight away, but it's too late because it's live. And it's just, I mean, YouTube editor can help. Sometimes you can just cut sections out of videos. But it can be a bit frustrating because you will make mistakes if you're a YouTuber. I don't care who you are, you will make a mistake. You think it's going to be really easy. I'll never do this, and I've talked about things that I know off by heart. Like, got such a massive thing in my brain, a whole section dedicated to this one subject, and I'll make a mistake on something still. And if you said it in a conversation with your friends, it wouldn't really matter, but because it's published and it's fixed and final and you can't change it, it's just very frustrating, and people kind of like to dunk on you. And I find with social media that now, because a lot of people can instantly get in touch with you, that if they want to be negative, they definitely will. So yeah, it can be a bit frustrating, but to be fair, I get quite a lot of positive comments as well. I just think everyone in general that I've spoken to, you could get 1,000 positive comments and 1 negative one, and you will just sit. And if you have if you respond to that person as well, you will literally just check that comment over and over to see when they responded. Like, oh, I just can't wait.
Did I get them? Did I get them?
Yeah.
Or are they kind of come back with some bullshit?
Yeah, that's right.
But I always kind of think of it like, I won't remember this argument in a week's time, so don't bother getting involved with it.
I don't think I ever remember the name of. I don't think I've ever remembered the name of anyone who I've argued with. Like,
yeah,
not on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know the name of anyone. Yeah, I don't think I know of one user's name who I've gone back and forth with. I'm like, I don't even remember what that person's name is. Yeah,
and it doesn't look good. Like, I seen a screenshot today of James Gunn arguing with someone on Instagram about how they weren't making the Snyderverse, and it was James Gunn's fault because he hadn't told Warner Brothers that they should do it. And James Gunn was arguing with this person, and I just thought, like that Jay-Z lyric, don't argue with fools because people from a distance can't tell who is who. So I just try and keep out of it. And I think every YouTuber hits a point where they just stop responding to comments because they know what they're in for, and it's normally arguments, and you just haven't got the time to do it or the energy. When I first started out on YouTube, I was responding to every comment, hearting every comment, and there's so many positive people out there that I wish I could respond to them more, but and I'll try my best to, and then I'll just hit a negative comment on the video, and I'll just think, ruin my day.
Yeah, that's the problem is... I feel like we do better when it's weird. Like, the less I know what people are thinking about me, the better of a job I can do to keep them happy.
The more you can let go, and be natural.
The less feedback I'm getting involved with about me or something, the better I can do.
Well, YouTube, this is kind of what I was saying before. YouTube's like a weird environment for this. Like, you don't go to a movie, watch it, and you can't instantly get in touch with the director and tell them exactly what you feel, and the director's not sitting there reading what you're saying, you know what I mean? So, but YouTube you can, so it's such a weird environment. But it can help you quite a lot, though. Sometimes people actually do offer constructive criticism. I used to record into my phone with the camera on, and I just remember I got a comment one day saying, you know, what you're saying's good, but your camera's terrible and your sound's terrible. If you got a good microphone, you could do quite well. And that kind of stuck with me. And that was something I actually used. So sometimes it can be positive.
There are gems like that. Like, I can think back to times where even we've had that, where like there's somebody in the comments who randomly has some kind of technical mindset, who can see what you're doing enough to give you an actual piece of constructive feedback. Like, it is, they're like little unicorns.
Yeah. And it is worth sifting through the comments for that. But I know I've probably killed most of the comments on my videos now, because people will be like, well, I'm not going to bother because he doesn't reply. But I read them all, I do read most of them.
Yeah, I'll see you reply to quite a bit. And I think you're pretty good generally at handling. I remember on like the Bad Batch episode 1 breakdown, like my memory is not the greatest when it comes to like certain properties. So like we had to start Bad Batch episode 2, and I was like, crap, let me try to refresh my memory on the first episode. So I watched your breakdown, and then I saw like you got something like off about the Clone Force 99 thing. Like this 20-minute video, everyone's fucking corrected you about this one thing you got wrong. But the way you handle it, I'm like, that's a great sarcastic approach to handling like these hate comments. I feel like I can learn something from how you handle it. But behind the scenes, even sometimes when I take the good sarcastic approach, I'll be like, that motherfucker. I get so like riled up. Yeah.
And sometimes people try and drag you in beef as well. They think they're being nice, but they'll like drag you into beef. So I get compared to new rock stars quite a lot. And there'll be people who are like, oh, I just want to see you like smash new rock stars one of these days. And I'm just like, thanks, I guess, but I really enjoy their channel.
Boxing match between you and Eric Voss.
I really enjoy their channel. And I hope that like Eric Voss doesn't randomly just open the video and see me condoning these comments, because there'll always be a thumbs up on it. and it'll probably be the person liking it themselves, but that'll look like it's me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh no, dragged into this again.
Like
someone tweeted me last night saying, I want to see Canadian Lad and Heavy Spoilers have a fight. My money's on Canadian Lad. And like, do I respond to that and say, well, I'd kick his ass, or do I just ignore it? But I'm guessing that Canadian Lad is probably sitting there reading it thinking, I'm dragged into a fight as well. And it's just kind of like, we just all exist in this bubble where there's a lot of respect. Most YouTubers don't really acknowledge each other, which is really weird. I try to if I'll give people shout outs, or I'll make self-deprecating remarks about myself. And it's a really weird space. But just getting dragged into like drama and getting people who want to see you fight each other over Marvel breakdowns is a bit weird. Weird.
I agree. I mean, I think that's one of the first things you and I talked about on Twitter was how I feel like there's this weird thing where people compete with each other here on the YouTube platform. And it really hit me a while ago. And this is actually the other thing I wanted to ask you about. Because it hit me a while ago, like, what's the point of competing on YouTube? I feel like we should just be like we should be like as much of a community as possible, like amongst each other. Like people could easily watch, like I could watch your video and watch Canadian Lad's video. Like it's not a problem. I don't need to like have you guys compete for my own entertainment. And I don't like the feeling of competing. Well, I think the problem is I have a really big issue with comparing myself. That I
think everyone does.
And so do you personally have that? Because I know you were just talking about like wanting to not have this drama or this competition, but do you have that issue too with comparing yourself?
Yeah, and YouTube it's not like any other business, because if you work in Burger King, even if you're next door to McDonald's, you don't know what sales they're making. You don't know how many customers are going through their doors. YouTube, you can search and see the results for other people. So I dropped a trailer breakdown yesterday. I was checking the search out, and I was like, why is this video doing better than mine? And yeah, it's difficult not to get sucked into it. Sometimes, though, competition can make you improve. Like me and Chris, we started out roughly the same time on YouTube, and we never spoke to each other for about a year, but behind the scenes, I knew we had like a psychic connection where we both knew we absolutely hated each other, and we're just constantly trying to outdo the other one. And we kind of compare it to The Prestige, the two magicians in that, where the two magicians are just trying to one-up each other all the time. And we were clearly trying to do that with each other so much. And I think when you're first starting out, you are kind of, you've got so many people who all also just started a YouTube channel that day who are doing the exact same thing as you. And you're all trying to break away from each other and stand out. And there was so many YouTubers back then when me and Chris were doing it that aren't here now, but me and Chris still are. And I think it's kind of because we developed this competitive rivalry where we were always just pushing each other to level up. Like if you go back to my early videos, they're absolutely terrible. Oh, my dog's just coming.
Oh my god, I was going to ask about your wife.
This is like that bit in the BBC.
You're in a if I didn't see like her shoulder there, I thought you were in Paranormal Activity for a second.
Literally my next question was...
my wife does exist. Like, people were saying you should do it like Ralph on WandaVision, where you haven't actually got a wife, but you just keep referring to her.
It's just an actor you've possessed.
Yeah. So
that's so funny. I was going to ask about her next. That's so funny.
Yeah, so me and Chris, we constantly were just going head to head on the same topics, same subjects, and from that we both kind of developed what worked for each other. But I would beat him, he would beat me. It's like, you know, in Peter Pan, the Indians and the Lost Boys, they'll catch each other and then they'll be like, oh, set them loose. And be like, well, why have you set them loose? It's because sometimes we win, sometimes they win. And that was pretty much mine and Chris's relationship on YouTube, of just one of us would win and the other would win, and we just keep bettering, you know, trying to get better. But YouTube is quite good for that. You know, it's never a monopoly, I don't feel. I feel sometimes it'll push smaller channels to have a good day, and then you'll have a bad one, but then the next week it'll push you to have a good one. Yeah. So that is pretty much how I viewed competition. And then it just got to a point where me and Chris just reached out to each other, and we were like, "This is exhausting. I really respect you. I've been going head to head with you for the past year. You've managed to go the distance with me."
Taking a lot of energy out of me.
Yeah, and that was the thing. And I think I just saw so many of those other channels drop off that it was like, well, this guy, you know, he's had me going at him every single day for the past year. He's still here. I really respect that because I know how hard I've been working. I know he's been working very hard, so that's good. And now I'm kind of just in a place where I'm not scrapping out with the smaller channels, so I'm not that bothered about, you know, being negative or hating someone. I'm just like, I'll happily message your channel and just say like, this is something you should do. I remember J Buck Studios, I hadn't spoken to him before, and I saw that he got a copyright strike on a video, and I messaged him just saying, look, that sucks that you've got that strike. Here's how you fill in the form, and how you kind of deal with that. And even the other day, Lamar Wilson reached out and was like, I've got a big question to ask. What font do you use in your thumbnail? He said, I've asked so many YouTubers, have been asking for months and months, and no one's ever told me. I just said, oh, just Agency, it's called. And he was like, thank you so much. I can't believe no one's told me this. But he said it was just the difference between old YouTube and new YouTube, where I think the new community's a lot more giving and supportive. And when people were getting Wandavision screeners and I wasn't, there was so many people who were just like, oh, well, here's an email address, message them and see if you can get it, which was really, really nice. Because I know 2 years ago that wouldn't have been the case. It would have been like, you're trying to take my views. Get the hell out of here.
No, you're 100% right about that.
I think it's a lot more apparent now just within the YouTube space of what it's like to both be on the creator side and on the audience side. So I get the sense there's a lot more respect for just what the obstacles and struggles are now, rather than people just being like, stop whining.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Because I mean, we've been doing this since like 2013, and now I usually act, there's a subconscious part of my brain that will kick off if someone asks for help, like an email or something or whatever. Yeah. Where I get a resistant immediate, like there's this subconscious reaction that comes up of like, I don't want to do it. And and then I actively go, well, now I got to do it because that's like, this is not the person I want to be. So like anytime I get asked for something from a fellow, you know, colleague or something, like if you want to ask or whatever, I would, if I'm like, no, I go, oh shit, now I really got to help out because I got to fight against it.
The more times that you kind of give advice as well, you realize it doesn't really make a difference.
True.
I mean,
very true. Yeah.
The amount of advice I've given now in channels, I'm still here. And it's like, yeah, cool. There's no, I mean, we've just opened up the space more for more people to come in, and we're all eating, which is good. No one's taking food out of anyone else's mouth. YouTube pays a stupid amount of money, so yeah, just it's a nice environment at the moment. But the war will start again soon.
And I'll be ready.
That next adpocalypse drops the revenue down to 90%. I'm like, I've got to kill this channel, man. I've got to kill him.
Really quick, I think I would like to end off here. I have there's some, I didn't even talk with Chris about this much, but we were kind of touched, and like this is, I'm going to be a little mindful of how much I reveal, and you can be a little mindful of how much you reveal too. But you've been in a relationship for a while, and you started growing in YouTube while you were in this relationship, and it's done like a lot of financial benefits for you. You have a great career going and all that, but I understand the struggle of being able to have a proper relationship or just go on trips and travel and stuff. Can you touch on that at all? Like, because I like right now I'm trying to plan like a one little week. Okay, I'll give a quick example. It's just to give Johnson. I want to give Johnson credit here because I had to go to Colorado to look at some venues, and then and so John had to like hold down the fort here while I was gone. And I've been having the hardest time just even getting him to have like a day off. Like it's been like 2 little half days since, and even then I have to like call him up and be like, dude, there's this big problem. I need your help. So, and like you got Loki coming up, and I know you had like this trip planned to go there. And I know like my fiance can get and it's understandable of, you know, like I'm doing this all the time, and there's this fear that if you stop doing it or committing to it, it's going to drop off, it's going to fall off. So it's hard to just kind of, it's
hard to choose the rest of life sometimes.
It's hard to commit to things outside of here because you never know what the fuck is going to drop, you know? Or like you never know the importance. So I don't really know what my specific question is, but like, can you just touch on that a little bit of how that's been?
Yeah. It is difficult, and when I was doing a full-time job alongside YouTube, it was very, very difficult because we'd go to the cinema on a Friday night, watch the film, get in about 11 o'clock, and I would just go to work until 2 a.m. Then I'd wake up the next morning. My wife would want to do something. I'd be like, I can't. There's a Superman announcement or something, so I'd have to work through the day. I thought it would have gotten easier when I dropped the full-time job, but it hasn't because I'm trying to make my videos better, so I'm actually spending more time on them. And yeah, it does just eat away at your life. Like we booked a trip around Loki, so it was going to be I'd finish about 2 p.m. Get the video out on the Friday, go to the resort, come back on the Thursday night, and then be back in for Loki the next day. And then they moved it to Wednesday, and it was just like, my trip's just ruined. I'm going to have to work. And we kind of went back and forth whether to cancel it or not. My wife's really supportive. She was like, just work. But it's kind of like, I've wanted some time off for a while because 2020 I didn't take any time off because I was just in survivor mode. I just thought, this job is not going to last because there's no movies coming out, so I just have to keep working. And even now, I'm still kind of in that mind state of, if I stop working, the money's going to stop. We're not going to be able to live anymore. I'm going to have to go back to working for someone else. And I've worked so hard for this. I want to hold on to it as tight as I can. And that can kind of come at the expense of your personal relationships. It's one of the best jobs in the world to do, but it's so taxing, and for it to be the best job, it's going to require some sacrifices, and that really, really can be quite straining sometimes. So we went back and forth between, do we cancel this trip? We looked at all the other times in the year, and I was like, well, can we not move the trip back to another month? And she was like, Paul, there's never going to be another month. There's never going to be another week. Something will always come up. I remember working Christmas Day. We had Christmas dinner, and then the Wonder Woman HBO Max thing came out, and I just was sat under the dinner table, out of the way of the living room, typing up the script for the video. And it was just, you can't have time off, and you have to give up those personal things. And it's such a cliche, because I know if we become parents or something, it's going to be like the dad who's never gets to spend time with his kid because he's always trying to put food on the table. And yeah, it is. It causes stress. But my hope is that I can retire younger because of it, and then live out the good days, live out my winter years.
Yeah.
But you just don't know. And this job literally could end tomorrow. So it's like, you have to do it whilst the sun's still shining, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
You've got to plant the seeds whilst the sun's out or something.
Make hay.
You got this, Kevin.
Yeah.
You did it,
But
Kevin.
you're going to have no personal life if you want to become a YouTuber, unfortunately.
I was going to say, you mentioned like studying music and stuff. Where do your then like other passions and hobbies fit into all of that too?
Yeah, I used to be such a big gamer. I just used to play computer games like 4 or 5 hours a day. I was really good at them as well, not just blowing my own trumpet, like really good at them. But I can't remember the last time I played a computer game, because any spare moment I get, I'm like, well, I should be working on something on YouTube. So it just, I view very much as YouTube is my life at the moment, and everything else is kind of not the job, but the things that I attend, and kind of takes me away from YouTube. So when you have a normal life, you have to attend your job, and that's what takes you away from your life. But at the moment, I feel like YouTube is the life, and everything that I'm doing is me attending something, whilst YouTube kind of is what I should be doing. So yeah, it's a really taxing thing mentally. It can take it out of you, but I don't think we're going to be doing this forever, so we just kind of have to knuckle down and get through it. And, you know, because I'm massively complaining. It is a great job when it's great, but you will not have a personal life or be able to book trips. And I wish that Hollywood would just be like, let's just shut down for 2 weeks.
We're taking a week
news.
off.
Yeah, no news, no TV shows. Just everyone have a week off.
I think it was around not last Christmas, but the Christmas before, because I personally have been living off of the channel since 2014, I want to say. So 2014, I've been living off of YouTube.
Yeah. So how do you last that long mentally and just...
It's a lot. I mean, I've been in therapy for quite a while, and you know.
But even attending therapy, are you not just like, crap? What if something happens?
I've gotten a little better. I'd say I big emphasis on the little. Like my fiance wouldn't say that, but people who knew me before might say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because around the time because when she met me, it was during Apocalypse. Like I remember when we were living together, there was one point where I had to borrow money from her just to make rent, and so it was rough. It was a really rough time. But I remember like. It was this Christmas of 2019, whenever there was like a Spider-Man Far From Home trailer that was coming out. We didn't know when it was coming. And like this channel thrives so much off of that. And we were supposed to go on a Christmas trip. And I was with my therapist. And my therapist was like, I know this Spider-Man trailer will be big and would do great numbers. You can make a lot of money. But when you're old... Like if you were going to, he laid it out to me pretty straightforward. He's like, if you were told you were going to die next week, would you give a shit about that Spider-Man trailer?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I really wouldn't. Like I would watch it, but I wouldn't be like, I got to make a YouTube video, you know? And not that I've like adopted that principle like every day, you know, like May's supposed to be a lighter month. I was like, okay, there's no big Marvel show. Let's try to take it easier. And somehow I'm still not sleeping. And
exactly the same.
And
exactly the same.
So I'm trying to, that's why I'm like, I'm doing my best to be able to like clock out. I'll still check my phone for stuff or like see what might be coming out. Like I used to, like, depending on the trailer, I'll really care about being first or like close to first, but sometimes I'm like, no, it would be better if we're not, so we can get some sleep, so that way we can have a better performing video. I feel like the quality of our video
we can be better on camera. Yeah.
But I'm trying. It's something that I think you're trying, and I'm trying. Like it's very, because I have like all these. I put out this long Twitter thread yesterday about like how I have a script that's been with the studio for a year and a half, and I haven't really been writing since, and I'm like, I'm already not sleeping doing YouTube, and that's my fear about when I'm going back into my real passions is like, well, now I'm just never going to sleep, and I'm just going to be a miserable, grumpy, quick to provoke asshole because
then you'll write The Machinist
because he knows I get like very if I go too long without sleeping like that much, I'm very easy to provoke. Like I get very ticked off about like the littlest thing going wrong. So it's funny. It's like all I can do, kind of what you're saying. All I can do is be honest about where I'm at right now. And I don't really have a solution to handling this. And as I think, like, you know, when we're talking, all of us, you know, because there's a camera pointed at us, we'll do our disclaimers. We'll talk about like how, you know, like we know it's a great job. Like, yeah. But when we're in private, it's like there is these like taxing things that happen and where it's weird. Like this seems like this should be the most easy thing to have, a personal life, but it's because you're self-employed and you don't have someone really checking in. Like you have a 9 to 5, you have a set schedule.
It's weirdly harder when you're your own boss or you're in that kind of situation, because it's like, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want with the time, except it behooves you to really organize that time and mostly dedicate it to what you're focused on.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's like even when building this channel, originally I was like 40 hours a week at a doctor's office, and then 30 hours a week I was doing YouTube. So I would do it bright and early, and I would do it late at night. And then eventually when you replace that job, you're like, well, all the hours I had for my job got to go to YouTube now.
Doesn't happen.
And now I'm like, it's nonstop. So Yeah, to really have this, I'm kind of looking for the solution, and it's really about just willing to make a decision. Like last Christmas for Wonder Woman, I made the choice of we could do a reaction to this, probably get a lot of patrons for covering it, probably make a lot of money on YouTube if we get it monetized. But my fiance really wants to watch this movie, and so we could sit down in a camera and do it together, and I know I'm going to get comments of people being like, why didn't you do like there's a lot of that, but I made the choice to go, I prefer to watch this with my fiance, to have this moment with her on Christmas.
Yeah, definitely. That's really nice.
But it's not. I don't always do that, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. And no matter how many subscribers you get as well, you'll never feel secure.
No.
It doesn't matter. I thought by 500,000 subscribers, I'd be like, any video I post will do hundreds of thousands of views. And sometimes, like my Resident Evil Village breakdown I did yesterday, it's on about 12,000 views, and it's just like, just feels like a bit of a kick in the teeth. So now I feel like I have to work more to kind of recover and get things back on track. But sometimes you'll find that just the way the algorithm works, if you're down, you'll get worse and worse and worse, because your videos are getting recommended to less people because less people are watching them. So it's constantly a downward spiral. Whereas there's some channels who just post once a week. Like I really wish I could be like the Canadian lad or something. Yeah, and just post once a week. And I've got no idea if he, to me it seems like he's living a great life and just doing that work, and I wish I could be like that, but he might be going through his own things, and you really don't know exactly what's going on with certain people. And for me, I just get such bad anxiety if I don't work, and everyone's like, oh, he just posts all the time, he's just constantly on top of things, and they don't kind of see the psychological side of that, of like, well, why does he do that? And it's because I get a lot of anxiety if I miss out on a topic, or if I'm not the first out. I have this belief of like, oh crap, people aren't going to watch my stuff, they're going to watch someone else's, and that is kind of what drives me to be, always boom, 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 boom. So people probably think like, oh, he's the best, he's the fastest man alive, but it's very much because in my head it's like, you have to work, you have to work, you have to work, which is really difficult to switch off. And when you have that in your head the whole time, obviously it drives my channel to be, posting every single day, but it can be quite torturous almost. When you don't have something to do as well, that's really, really bad. So today I haven't posted, and it's like, oh crap, what do I do?
I mean, I get you. Like,
leak this interview footage. Blow it up.
I have a philosophy of, I feel like every emotion, when you boil it down, comes down to love or fear. And I actually love doing this, but weirdly, so much of the decision making stems from a place of fear. And that's the contradictory part of doing this is, it's like, I mean, it's weird to be like, oh, there's a Venom trailer on Monday. Cool, that'll do well. Oh, but I got to get up at 5 in the morning. It's going to
change our whole Sunday.
And I got to look awake and alert and feel a natural enthusiasm. So I got to like research Venom, and there's a chance it might not be monetized. So it's tough, but I don't know.
And even though we kind of know the schedule now, where it's always, for me, it's either 2 p.m. or 5 p.m.
Still jealous.
Most trailers get posted that time. But even then, I'm still like, oh, well, I don't know. And at 1 p.m., I'm just like, oh, what if this doesn't happen? So my Resident Evil video yesterday, I got that done, and that was very, very taxing getting that done. But I had to get it done because I thought, if this Venom trailer doesn't drop, then I'm gonna have nothing to post today. So it's just constantly just in the back of your head worrying about things, and worrying is an overactive use of your imagination a lot of the times, but you just constantly have the fear of missing out. If you don't cover a topic and someone else does and it blows up, it's like, oh crap, that I really wish I'd done that. I'm kicking myself for not doing it. And you don't want to feel that. You don't want to feel, and you kind of feel like you might let your subscribers down as well, because that second Loki trailer dropped, and I had so many people. I posted a Walking Dead video instead, and so many people were like, this is a waste of time, do Loki instead. But I'd literally been up in the morning just working on this Walking Dead video, and I'd done the Nevers as well, so I did 2 episode breakdowns back to back, and I just was like, I just don't have the energy to do it. So yeah, it's just really, really difficult sometimes.
It's
but
fun.
we'll love it.
It's funny because like you really, and people say this about us too, but it's difficult because we're on camera a lot, so we have to look like, we have to look like, we're always in a good mood,
and we gotta improvise good jokes.
But I never would have, as much as I've been doing this, I still never would have suspected, just from listening to your videos, that you do deal with the anxiety or the stresses. Like you just don't have that cadence about you.
Your narrations are so soothing, ironically.
Thank
like
you.
when I listen to them in headphones, I'm like, you should do audiobooks or something. 'Cause like this is so informative, but also it's charming and funny.
I guess that's kind of work does feel like the release almost. Like it's like, oh, I'm here and I'm doing it, and that's kind of where the anxiety just frees almost.
True.
You're in the zone.
So like yesterday with the Venom trailer, I knew it was coming, so I prepared my intro, prepared my outro, had that ready, and then when the trailer was here, I was like, oh, it's here. It hit the time I predicted. I'm sat down. I'm ready to do this. Let's just enjoy it. So that was quite good, but it's the in between that's really bad.
The anticipation anxiety,
and then the assembly anxiety.
The anticipation of it all.
But like the night before a Disney Plus show, or even like the half hour before that, it's like, oh crap, like because they've been releasing Disney Plus shows at weird times as well. It was meant to be 8 a.m. over here, but sometimes they drop it 20 minutes before, like 15 minutes before. So I'd constantly be sitting there just refreshing. So. And I kind of have trapped myself into being the first person out, I think. Whereas I would love to just be able to think, oh, well, I'll just get to it in another day. I'll just relax and take time off. Because I think sometimes the videos do suffer. For example, yesterday I uploaded the Venom trailer, and then it got a claim on it. And I saw in the comments there was people pointing out other Easter eggs. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to pull this video. I'm going to actually take my time with it. And it didn't do as well, but I feel like I'm more proud of that video almost.
You get a better video out of it.
Exactly. I was talking to Chris about it. I was just saying, I'm more interested in making the best video I can. And, I chucked away 20,000 views on it, but, the 60,000 people that have watched it on top of that, they'll probably enjoy the video more. So
exactly. No, it's that long-term effect that you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we've been doing our best to adopt that principle. Like for Shang-Chi,
so difficult though.
It's difficult, especially when like the reaction game, where it's so easy to like, okay, as long as we're close to first, we can like really ride this wave of the algorithm recommending us. But I do notice that like even the Shang-Chi trailer, it didn't come out, and we were so pissed. And then it just came out while we were in the middle of something else. So then we had to rush it, and I was like, I don't even like watching back that video, even though people really liked the video and it went trending. I was like, I wasn't a fan of the fact that we rushed it and we didn't have like. I just want to like for those rush ones, I want like at least a solid. You know how like the end of your Venom breakdown had like a really solid like 2-minute review of the trailer?
Yeah.
I want like a solid 4 to 5 minute review. That's it. But like on the Shang-Chi, you're just like, hurry up, get that fucking opinion out.
Guys, he was there.
Now we're gonna like edit, put the thumbnail, get it up.
Logo.
Exactly. And I'm not a fan of when we get stuck in that mode. And so like for Venom, I'm like, hey, we had a good 4 to 5 minute opinion time. That was awesome. Sweet. So then when it got demonetized, I was like, damn it. Of course the one where we were like feeling sharp about this one.
And that'll always be how it happens as well. It'll always be the one that you care about. Like mine getting shadow banned. I know it wasn't shadow banned, but it sucked. But yeah, the Shang-Chi one, I remember because the poster dropped. So I'd prepared quite a lot.
I can imagine on your end. Damn.
Yeah, and the poster dropped, so I thought I'm going to have to quickly change this. So I went back, rewrote loads of it, recorded it, and then as I came out to edit the audio, I saw that the trailer was actually live. So I had to scrap all that, then hammer out a new one, twist and change things. And it was just, I think you can kind of tell when you watch the Shang-Chi trailer breakdown that there's a lot of stuff in there that's just general points about the characters, which was just coming from me preparing for this poster video that I was going to do. But I didn't want to completely scrap because then I'd wasted so much time.
Yeah.
It sucks when they do that, but They don't care about us. They're
just
care.
trying to troll Simuliu on his birthday.
Factor in the YouTubers, damn it. But dude, Paul, I really appreciate the time you had here. Appreciate the honest conversation. This took a while to people don't know how much rescheduling we've had to do to get this to go.
That was another thing with YouTube, because we kept trying to do it and something else would come up, and we had to be like, oh, sorry, this isn't important. This new trailer that's just dropped is. And I was like, I understand, I get it. We get it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We have to go interview Henry Golding for Snake Eyes right after.
Okay, cool.
Do you
That'll
have
be good.
any Snake
Thanks
Eyes
for
questions?
warming us up.
We have 5 minutes to learn all about Snake Eyes. So we don't know anything about. We don't know as much as we need to know.
Not as much as we ought.
So we got 5 minutes to be like, Snake Eyes. What's that about again?
Yeah, can you demonstrate how you would break down a character for a video in front of us right now? Send us those notes.
We'll let you know how it goes. But dude,
that Andy Serkis trailer breakdown.
Yeah,
that's the future. Just get the director to do it for you.
Oh, I know. He's taking away your job.
I was gonna,
the director's taking away your own job.
Before we sign off, I want to know, where did the beef with IGN start?
I actually quite like IGN, to be honest. I've spoken to some of them behind the scenes, and they were like, "Oh, we really like your videos." Because I posted one of their trailers with a watermark on it. It was for Godzilla versus Kong, and they were like, this is kind of exclusive to us. Can you just take that down?" So I said, yeah. But I'm always throwing stupid shots out like that. Me and Ryan Airy have nothing but beef all the time, but we love each other behind the scenes. So yeah, I'm just always making, because no one ever, like I said before, we kind of all exist in this bubble where no one really acknowledges each other. So I think it's fun to just do that from time to time. So yeah,
absolutely.
But I don't have a problem with IGN; they're fine. But you
On the
can't
record,
spell
I
ignorant
understand.
without IGN, can you? Hey? Suck
Boom.
on that.
That should be
You
the
get Andy Serkis again, I'll kill you.
that should be the opening of this video.
Can't spell
Just
it
throwing shade at IGN, no context. All right, Paul, dude, thank you so much. I know it's late.
Thank you.
It's late for you. You started off our day. I really appreciate this.
Have a good one.
I
You
think this
ended
went well.
mine.
Yeah.
So take care.
Take care, buddy. Guys, subscribe to Heavy Spoilers if you haven't done so. Trust me, well worth it. Take care, buddy.
Kevin Spoilers.